Level 1. The applicant. You find the application on CIA.gov. There is no recruiter. There is no cold call. There is no man in a parking garage handing you a folder. There is a website with a careers page and a form that looks like every other government job form. Name, education, work history, languages spoken, countries visited, reason for applying. You fill it out and click submit, and you wait. The process takes between 6 months and a year. During that time, people you haven't spoken to in years receive phone calls from investigators asking about your character, your professors, former employers, neighbors you forgot you had. The CIA vets you before you know you're being vetted. The investigation is thorough because the access is total. If they hire you, you will know things that could end careers and start wars. They need to know if you are the kind of person who can carry that. The polygraph comes before the final offer. You sit in a small room, white walls, no windows, a blood pressure cuff on your left arm, 2 sensors on your fingers, a strap across your chest. The machine measures your breathing, your pulse, and your skin conductivity. The examiner's face is professionally empty. He asks whether you have committed crimes you were never caught for. He asks whether you have ever given information to a foreign government. He asks whether you have ever used illegal drugs. Your body responds to the questions it knows it should be calm about. You confess things you forgot you had to confess. Small things. The machine feels omniscient. The man behind it never blinks. The machine cannot detect lies. It measures stress. It cannot distinguish between a liar and a nervous person telling the truth. You do not know that yet. 3 weeks later, a letter arrives. Welcome to the CIA. Level 2. The trainee. They send you to Camp Peary, Virginia. The locals call it the farm. It sits on 9,275 acres of forest and swamp near Williamsburg, officially listed by the Department of Defense as an armed forces experimental training activity. Unofficially, it is the CIA's primary school for clandestine operations officers. You will spend the next several months here, living under an assumed name, cut off from your family, learning to become someone the world will never officially know exists. The curriculum is called Sadrat. 6 steps: spot, assess, develop, recruit, run, and terminate. You learn to spot a target in a crowd. You assess their vulnerabilities, their debts, their ideologies, their marriages, their ambitions. You develop the relationship over weeks and months until the relationship feels real to them. Then you recruit them, which is the CIA's word for convincing a human being to betray their country, their colleagues, and in many cases, their family. You run them, managing the asset the way a handler manages a source. Carefully, at arm's length, with just enough warmth to maintain the dependency. You terminate them when the relationship is no longer useful or no longer safe. At the farm, the campus simulates a foreign country called Vertania. There is a fake embassy, a town square, a mock news channel. Instructors play the roles of foreign intelligence officers. They run surveillance operations against you. They try to catch you making mistakes. If they catch you too many times, you fail. The washout rate is around 40%. Some candidates cannot handle the deception. Some crack under the psychological exercises, which include sleep deprivation, staged interrogations, and sustained gaslighting designed to test whether you can still function when reality itself feels unreliable. The people who survive are not necessarily the most intelligent. They are the ones who can build a wall between who they are and what they do, and never let anyone see where the door is. You graduate. You are now a CIA operations officer. You are sent to a country you cannot name. Level 3. The case officer. Your cover is political attaché at the American Embassy. Your name is on the diplomatic list. Your name is also on a personnel manifest inside the CIA Directorate of Operations that has a different classification level than anything in the embassy's filing system. Every reception is an evaluation. Every handshake is an interview that the other person does not know they're having. You scan rooms the way a locksmith scans locks, looking for the mechanism. Everyone has one. The question is always which category: money, ideology, coercion, or ego. The CIA calls this MICE: motivation, ideology, coercion, ego. You learn to identify the category within the first 3 conversations. Everything after that is turning the mechanism. Your first recruitment takes 8 months. He is a mid-level official in the foreign ministry, with access to diplomatic cables and a gambling problem, whom you spent 3 months manufacturing opportunities to observe. You approach him at a casino. You buy drinks. You become his friend, you loan him money, then more. The dependency is constructed incrementally, one favor at a time, until by month 6, he cannot repay you, and by month 8, you ask him for a favor in return. Just some internal documents. Nothing sensitive. Or so you tell him. And so he tells himself. He hands you the documents. You eat dinner at the embassy that evening and feel nothing in particular. The asset runs for 2 years before the Foreign Service Counterintelligence Unit gets suspicious. You extract him. You extract yourself. You write a report that is accurate in its facts and carefully incomplete in its implications. The report goes into a file that is classified at a level requiring a clearance that most senators do not hold. Level 4, the NOC. Most CIA officers work under official cover. Diplomats, military attachés, aid workers attached to State Department positions. If they are caught, they are expelled. Embarrassing, not dangerous. Diplomatic immunity is a kind of parachute. It cannot save the mission, but it can save the person. You are offered something without a parachute. Non-official cover. NOC. Pronounced NOC. The CIA's most dangerous deployment category. You will not have a diplomatic passport. You will not have an embassy. You will have no government identification connecting you to the United States. Your personnel file at Langley will be flagged in a way that means if you are caught and your name surfaces, the agency will not claim you. The State Department will not claim you. The President will not claim you. They build you a legend. A fake identity with documentation substantial enough to survive scrutiny. You are now a management consultant working for a private firm with real offices in 3 cities. The firm exists. The clients exist. The revenue is real. None of it does any consulting. The CIA maintains it as a front company because a consulting firm can operate anywhere in the world without explanation. You live your cover 24 hours a day. Your neighbors think you travel for work. Your girlfriend thinks you travel for work. Your parents think you left government employment years ago. Communication with your handlers goes through dead drops. A chalk mark on a wall, a package under a park bench, signals embedded in the metadata of an ordinary-looking website. You sleep with a packed bag under the bed. You vary your route home every day. You have memorized the license plates of the 4 vehicles that appear most frequently on your street. You are structurally, operationally, existentially alone. No one on Earth knows both your real name and your current location. You operate for 3 years before the cover begins to fray. A local intelligence service notes a pattern in your travel schedule. A source inside the service passes the notation to your handler. The handler pulls you. The extraction is quiet. You board a flight using a third identity. You land in Virginia. You debrief for 2 weeks in a building that is not on any public map. Then they send you to Harvey Point, North Carolina. Level 5. The paramilitary officer. Harvey Point Defense Testing Activity. A CIA paramilitary training facility near Hertford, North Carolina, was established in the years following the 1961 Bay of Pigs invasion. It operates behind security fences and cypress groves, and has been there for 60 years without most people in Hartford knowing what it is. This is where the training changes. Case officers collect intelligence. Paramilitary officers act on it. 6 months. Small unit tactics. Close quarters combat. Explosives and demolitions. Advanced weapons. High-altitude parachute operations, high-altitude low opening, HALO, and high-altitude high opening, HAHO, falling from altitudes where you need supplemental oxygen before you can breathe enough to function. Combat diving, SERE, survival, evasion, resistance, and escape, where they confine you in a box in a room to teach you what captivity feels like before it happens in a country where the guards do not follow the Geneva Conventions. Your instructors are former Delta Force and SEAL Team 6 operators. They do not care about your recruitment skills. They care about whether you can clear a room without getting your team killed. The CIA's Special Activities Center, SAC, formerly called the Special Activities Division, runs 3 branches: Ground Branch for land operations, Maritime Branch for amphibious work, and Air Branch for covert aviation. You are assigned to the Ground Branch. Ground Branch is considered by most analysts of special operations to be among the premier paramilitary forces in the world. Most of the Distinguished Intelligence Cross and Intelligence Star recipients during the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq came from the SAC-SOG Ground Branch. Most of the stars on the CIA Memorial Wall at Langley, the ones with no names beside them, came from here too. September 26, 2001. 8 CIA officers from Team Jawbreaker land in Afghanistan's Panjshir Valley. They are the first Americans into Afghanistan after September 11th. The first American killed in combat in Afghanistan is one of them. Johnny Michael Spann, a Marine Corps captain turned CIA paramilitary officer, died November 25, 2001, at the Kala-e-Janggi fortress during a prisoner uprising. He was 32. He is the 79th star on the memorial wall. There is no name beside the star. You are not the first in. You are the latest in a line that has been going on since before you were qualified to join it. Your first mission is in a country you cannot name, working alongside a military force whose cooperation with the U.S. government is officially unconfirmed. You grow a beard, you wear local clothes. You eat what the men you work with eat. Your job is to identify targets and call in the coordinates. You watch through binoculars. You call in the coordinates. You wait. Sometimes the target is where the intelligence said it would be. Sometimes the intelligence is wrong. You try not to think about the times it's wrong. You have another mission tomorrow. Level 6. The team leader. They give you a team. 6 operators. The team has no official name. The mission has a code designation. The country in which it takes place is not one where the U.S. government officially operates. The mission is to find and destroy a cache of chemical precursors before they can be weaponized. The intelligence says the cache is in a warehouse complex in a city that is being contested by 4 armed factions simultaneously. 2 of those factions have been paid by the CIA at different points in the last decade. One of them is currently being paid. You do not know which one. You spend 5 weeks in the city. You sleep in safe houses that change every 48 hours. Because 48 hours is approximately the window before someone in a contested city notices a pattern. You pay informants whose information is sometimes accurate and sometimes designed to draw you toward a location where someone is waiting. You interrogate contacts whose accounts shift with each conversation because they are working for 3 factions simultaneously and calibrating what they tell you based on which faction they think has more leverage that morning. You find the cache. You rig demolitions and destroy them. The smoke rises thick. You hope the wind doesn't shift. On your last night in the country, the convoy is hit. A side street. Muzzle flash from a second-floor window. One of your team members goes down. You carry him 3/4 of a mile to the extraction point while rounds move through the air close enough that you hear the difference between the ones that miss left and the ones that miss right. The helicopter arrives. You get out. He survives. You write a report. The report is classified. The mission never officially happened in a country where you were never officially present. Level 7. The Station Chief. Chief of Station. The senior CIA officer in an entire country. Every operation, every asset, every piece of intelligence that flows in or out of the country flows through you. You manage 40 officers and several hundred local assets. Local assets are the people who work for you without the protection of diplomatic immunity or a government salary. They work for money or ideology or fear or some combination of the 3. If they are caught, they face local law. In some countries, local law is a prison sentence. In others, it is something that happens in a facility that does not officially exist and ends in a manner that is never formally recorded. You meet with the ambassador every morning. You brief him on what you are willing to brief him on, which is less than what you know. You meet with local intelligence services, some of whom are allied with the U.S. government, some of whom are selling information to 3 governments simultaneously, some of whom you recruited as assets before they were running services. You approve operations that could become international incidents. You kill operations that carry too much risk. Every decision is a calculation with imperfect inputs and irreversible outputs. Your marriage ended during your 2nd overseas tour. Your children are adults now. They know your cover story. They know the person you are. The person you actually are has been distributed across too many classified compartments for too many years to reassemble cleanly. You sleep 4 hours a night. This has been true for so long that it no longer registers as a deprivation. Level 8. The Division Director. You are back at Langley, the building you first entered 25 years ago as a nervous applicant with a resume and no idea what the polygraph was going to ask. You walk past the memorial wall every morning. Stars carved into white Alabama marble. No names besides most of them. Some of them belong to people you knew. Some of them belong to people you sent. You run a division of the National Clandestine Service. Hundreds of officers, thousands of assets worldwide, billions of dollars in black budget funding, money that officially does not exist, appropriated by a congressional subcommittee in a classified annex that most members of Congress have never read. You brief the president. You sit in the Situation Room with the Secretary of Defense and the National Security Advisor. You recommend targets for drone strikes. You authorize operations in countries where the U.S. is not officially operating. You testify before congressional intelligence committees in closed sessions where there is no transcript. The senators ask questions. You give answers that are technically accurate and carefully incomplete. They do not want the details. They want plausible deniability. You have been providing that for 25 years. You are very good at it. The machine runs on secrets and blood. You are one of the people who keep it running. Level 9. The Ghost. You retire after 30 years. There is a small ceremony in a conference room at Langley. 50 people attend. The director gives a speech about sacrifice and dedication and the price of freedom. You receive the Distinguished Intelligence Cross, the CIA's highest award. It will sit in a box in your closet because you cannot display it. You cannot explain it. If someone finds it, you will say it is a replica. You sign more non-disclosure agreements. Everything you know is classified for the rest of your life. The truth of your career is a federal crime to speak aloud. You move to a house in Virginia, away from the city. You do not have many friends. The people you worked with are scattered or dead. You cannot explain the scars. You cannot explain why you check the locks 3 times before sleeping. You cannot explain why you wake at 3 in the morning and walk the perimeter of the yard looking for threats that are not there. Your pension is generous. Your health care is excellent. You are alone with everything you know and no one to tell it to and nowhere to put it, and a body that has been carrying it for 30 years and is starting to show the weight. The assets who were caught. The operations that went wrong. The stars with no names. None of it officially happened. None of it will ever be acknowledged. You are a ghost, and when you die, there will be a new star on the wall at Langley. No name, just a star. One more anonymous entry in a ledger that the public is not cleared to read. Somewhere tonight, someone is filling out the form on CIA.gov. They are sitting in a dorm room, an army barracks, or a graduate school library. They want to serve their country. They want to do something that matters. They want the version of this they have seen in movies, which is the version without the polygraph confessions, without the assets who get caught, without the stars with no names, without the box in the closet, and the 3 a.m. perimeter walks. They click submit. They wait. They have no idea what they're signing up for. They never do. They always do it anyway.